administrative staff, and all those who are in the audience this evening. Welcome. This is a special meeting, public hearing, and the purpose of this hearing is to provide the public with an opportunity to give input on the proposed amendment to the development plan and the tax increment financing plan for the Tax Increment Finance Authority. And at this time, we will have roll call. Councilwoman Abdo. Here. Councilman Bullock.
Here.
Councilman Jones.
Here.
Councilwoman Roscoe.
Here.
Councilwoman Talley.
Here.
Councilman Wadsworth.
Here.
And Councilman Wilhite.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum for this public hearing.
Thank you.
The public hearing agenda reads as follows. Number 1, roll call. 2, agenda. 3, public hearing discussion is the TIFA plan amendment. Number 4 is public comment, and number 5 is adjournment. And a motion will be in order to accept the public hearing agenda as presented.
So moved. Support.
Been motion by Mr. Wadsworth, supported by Mr. Jones for the approval of the special meeting agenda. Mr. Wadsworth?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. Abdo?
Yes.
Mr. Wilhite?
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe?
Yes.
Mr. Bullock?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, motion approved.
Thank you, council. We're now in discussion, and we're going to turn this over to Director Kevin Krause.
Thank you very much, Clerk. Good evening, Council, Mayor, Madam Clerk, and audience, and members of the public. Appreciate you allowing us to come before you this evening to discuss the TIFA reinstatement plan. If you remember, for the majority of the body, with the exception, I think, of our 2 new council members, our first study session in front of council was back in September of 2025, and that followed the approval of the draft plan from our TIFA board. And prior to that, we entered into a contract with OHM, and we have a representative here, Elaine Molnar-Younger, correct, from OHM, which is one of the consultants that helps us draft the plan. And then we also have Jennifer Stamper, our city assessor now also as well, in case there's any questions for anything from the assessment department, tax rolls, or anything as far as that is concerned. So with that being said, part of this process, the state of Michigan requires us to do a periodic review of our TIFA plan, and we go through that plan. We remove projects out of the plan that have been accomplished, and we add new projects that we'd like to go after or try to accomplish, and then also state the kind of the strategies and tactics in which we're going to go after those projects and get them funded and get them constructed and or across the finish line. So like I said, the first time we were in front of City Council was September 22nd, and that was to discuss with you exactly what we were doing and lay out that plan for you moving forward, and gave you a draft copy of the actual document for you to review. Subsequently, we went in the month of December in front of our TIFA board. The TIFA looked at the final draft as presented, and the TIFA board approved that final draft. So the next step in that process is to have a public hearing for input, and then the final step of that process is for council approval and submittal to the state for acceptance. So just at a very high level, the 4 items that we addressed in this revision plan, number 1 is we just clarified some language that was in the plan and some dates that weren't aligning with each other. And examples of that, when we did the review, we had some tables that were projected out for longer periods of time or shorter periods of time than what the plan actually said that the ending date was. So we wanted to make sure that all that language and everything was continuous across the entire plan and everything aligned appropriately. And then we have the other 3 changes are in the TIFA district boundaries and within the map. And as I go through my presentation, I'll talk about that a little bit more in depth, and we'll talk about those specific areas that we're adding to the map or including in the map during this change. So I just want to start just briefly and going over for the public to explain what TIFA is, how long we've had a TIFA plan, and exactly what it does for the city. So first and foremost, the plan falls under Public Act 57 of 2018. It was originally incorporated for the city of Romulus on October 22nd, 1984. So we have had a TIFA district and we've had a TIFA plan since 1984 in the city of Romulus. That was approved by the City Council under Public Act 450 of 1980, which has since been replaced and is now Public Act 57 of 2018. As part of that legislation and the state legislation and requirements, we have annual reporting that is due to the state every year. That reporting is a Report 57, which falls in line with the Act 57. And in that report, we have to go over our financial overview and the fiduciary of our plan and through the board and also through our treasurer's office. Our goals and direction of the authority, any projects or investments active and or completed, any accomplishments during that plan period or progress against the plan with our goals and our objectives of completion, and any authority or events or promotional campaigns or marketing that we do within the Tifa district in itself. We have a Tifa board, which is appointed by our mayor and can be not less of 11 members. I'd like to take an opportunity briefly and just thank the board members that are serving on our board, because without them volunteering to sit on those boards and those commissions throughout the city, some of this work doesn't get done, and it's really good work that we are working on and trying to accomplish for the city. So thank you to all of our board members that have passed sit on our Tifa board and are currently sitting on our Tifa board. So the TIFA funding comes from a number of different parcels within the TIFA plan that's identified. There are currently about 1,040 parcels in the plan in the TIFA district, which equates to about 9,070 total acres. The tax capture in that area includes the city of Romulus operating, sanitation, library, and public safety taxes, the county taxes, including the operating jail, veterans, parks, transit authority, and community college, and the Huron-Clinton Metro Park Authority. All of the residents within the Tifa district development area from the 2010 era was 1,402, and currently in 2020 during the last census was 2,377. If you think back in the 2010 era, that's kind of the middle or start of the downturn of the kind of the housing crisis that we had, and we had a lot of rental and abandoned homes within the city. So you can see during that same time period of the 10 years, we've seen the Tifa population, or the residential Tifa population, go up in that district, which kind of just goes to the overall health of the city as far as the population increase that we saw with the census, and those homes being turned from rental homes back to residential ownership homes that we've been able to also document over the last 10 years. And that just shows a comparison between the Tifa development area and the total population of the city. So we have about 2,300, 2,400 residents in the Tifa district out of the 25,000 that reside in the city of Romulus as a whole. The map you see before you is the current map within that is the Tifa district. And there's two boundaries on this map. There's a dotted line, and then there's kind of a red line. And I'm going to talk about both. The Tifa boundary is the actual outer shell of the Tifa map. And that area was what was established back in the early 80s when we established our Tifa district. Sometime mid-90s, the state of Michigan said, okay, we're not going to do any more Tifa districts, and what you have is all you have, and you can't expand or shrink your Tifa districts. It's that footprint, and that's it. You can't do anything else. Within the Tifa boundary, we have districts. And those districts are what the red line is throughout the map. And that's where we actually capture the taxes and then do the work that's in the Tifa plan. So all the red area that's kind of there is where the Tifa district currently is. So we have one district, it's just one large district, mainly because of the airport, which sits in the center of the city as well. And that's comparison to this. This is a little bit more updated map, and you can kind of see the orange is the actual Tifa district and where the tax capture occurs. The three changes that we currently are asking for in this update are the light blue or aqua area on the map. And you can see on the left side of the map, there's two smaller ones. The first one is the City Hall complex, which is the complex that we're sitting in right now. And then the other one's along 275 and goes across North Line Road to where Fire Station 1 property is. And that's the Fire Station 1 property that's just on the other side of the railroad tracks. And the last one is south of the airport. And that area south of the airport, we've been diligently working with the FAA and the Wayne County Airport Authority over the last 2 years and working through what they call their FAA pre-clearance real estate process. So any property that the airport or the FAA is gonna remove from the airport kind of roles or roster has to go through this clearance process. And it's a lengthy process, takes anywhere from 18 to 36 months to get through it. But what we wanted to do, and I've been working with their economic development liaison at the airport, is we wanted to go through and start working through that process on all the airport-owned property that they know they're not going to utilize. They purchased a lot of property in the south end of the city years ago when they wanted to do the 5th Parallel Runway project, and then it sat vacant, and it sat undeveloped, and it sat untaxed for years. So we're working with them on putting that back into private ownership, whether it's a citizen that wants to buy property down there, whether it's a developer, a residential, commercial, industrial, whatever it is. We just don't want it sitting in the airport's hands any longer, being untaxed and unutilized. So we're starting that clearance process with them and going through that process in hopes of, at the end of that, we'll be able to then move it into the sale portion or liquidation portion from the airport, which they have a process, again, that goes through all of that. So this is very early preliminary work, but what this also allows us to do by including in the Tifa district is along Pennsylvania Road there, where a lot of this property or a lot of these parcels have frontage, it allows us to be able to invest in the infrastructure along Pennsylvania Road. So that's kind of, stormwater detention or drainage ditches along the roads. It might be assisting with running electrical to parcels down there, running water lines, whatever it may be, infrastructure related or public benefit related, we'll be able to assist with and start, helping get that area developed a little bit more along Pennsylvania Road. So those are the 3 areas that we're asking for the district amendment to include. Just a brief overview of the vision of TIFA that was set forth in the plan. The plan is for the proper use of tax increment financing dollars in a manner that will creatively, positively, and proactively contribute to the economic development and redevelopment of the Tax Increment Finance Authority District in the city of Romulus. And that's really what we're looking at here is how we can better utilize the tax dollars that are captured and go after public benefit that's going to have a positive impact on the residents and the stakeholders of the city of Romulus, and make sure that we're able to complete some projects that we haven't been able to get to in the past. Some examples of these type of projects that recently we've been able to touch on a little bit. We just recently, if you've been into the hotel district, assisted with the demolition of the Roadway Inn. That Roadway Inn was an older hotel in the area. It had a significant public safety strain on our public safety resources. It was an attraction for crime in the area. There was structural and ordinance and building code violations there, and we've been able to work with a private partner and get that roadway demoed and queued up and get the site prep for 2 new hotels to be built in that area on that site. The flagpole project at Wick and Vining, you notice that's an entryway or gateway as you come off I-94 and enter into the hotel district. That flagpole project was TIFA funded and a TIFA project. And then also just over the last couple of years, Merriman Road marketing during the NFL draft. We worked with the NFL. We brought one of the NFL draft, they called it like a kids camp to the rack, and opened that up for the kids, and we hosted a day for all the kids to come in and participate in different activities in anticipation of the draft. And then we also worked with the NFL on marketing for the hotel district and to attract business to the hotels during the draft. And we did the light pole banners along Merriman Road and the lighting. So as people that were coming for the draft were leaving the airport, they had, they were all part of that draft experience. I'm going to go over the 8 goals that are set forth in the TIFA Increment Finance Authority Plan. Number 1 is encourage private investment. Stimulate significant private sector investment to drive sustainable economic development growth within Romulus. Some of these private investments that we've seen in Romulus over the last 5 to 10 years is the North Point project that we're seeing going on at Wick and Vining. The Janasco project that's down at Warman in Pennsylvania, and bringing that manufacturer, the residential home manufacturer and modular home manufacturer, to the city of Romulus. The Kroger Fulfillment Center on Warman Road as well. The Penske Center that was built behind Kroger that supplies the Kroger chain. And the Ashley Capital development as well. Goal number 2, enhance district character, support projects that visibly enhance the physical environment, create a memorable, attractive, and vibrant commercial district. This is some of the things that I mentioned before with the flagpole project and along Merriman Road, and we're starting to look at what's next with the hotels. We meet with the hotels quarterly now and have a quarterly meeting with them, and we're starting to get their feedback on how we can start to look at incorporating bike paths or walkways or running paths or nature trails into that area, and really work on reconnecting Romulus. Romulus is unique because of the four corners of the city with the airport in the center, but then we also have bifurcation and a further division because of the 275 and I-94 corridors, and also the railroad tracks with Norfolk Southern and CSX. So with all that critical infrastructure running through our city, part of TIFA's goal and objective with transportation and overall vibrancy is how do we reconnect our community through other pathways other than just roads and using vehicles to get from one spot to another. So we'll continue to work on that as well. Infrastructure improvement and facilitate the modernization of public infrastructure, including roads, sidewalks, utilities, public safety, or public spaces. And this includes, public safety facilities and city facilities. So Smith Road, this is one area that we've recently done in between Merriman and Middlebelt. We just put a new water main last year in that road. Currently that road has significant issues, and we know it needs to be replaced, but before we can get to that, we needed to make sure that the infrastructure under the road was taken care of and addressed. It was older water mains. We were able to increase the size of water mains, move it north of where the road right-of-way is on the north side of Smith, and now we've queued it up to start the kind of construction estimating process on what it'll take to replace that road as a whole. We repaved North Line Road in between Inkster and Middlebelt Road last year and took care of that. And then our DPW director currently has a crack seal and patch and replace project for Smith Road, Hildebrandt, and Flynn Drive that are also in the TIFA district. Goal number 4, support businesses, development and retention, implement initiatives to attract new businesses and retain existing enterprises, fostering economic stability and job creation. One of the things that we've worked on over the last 4 years is we had a large business event at the Sheridan. We had all the businesses in for that. We're partnering with multiple chambers in the area, the Southeastern Regional Wayne County Chamber, the Westland, Livonia, and Romulus chambers, and towards the end of April, I think April 23rd, we're hosting another event at the Sheridan to discuss the opening of the Gordie Howe Bridge and the intermodal transportation and logistics that brings to this area along 94, 275, and 75 corridors. Our mayor's going to give opening statements at that. We have Warren Evans attending as well, Ambassador Hoekstra, our ambassador to Canada, and we've been working with the Windsor mayor also, Mayor Dilkins, who's going to be coming over and talking about economic development and shared development between the two countries as well. That's just, again, one of the examples. Real estate breakfast, broker breakfasts with both residential real estate agents and commercial and industrial agents, where we're constantly kind of updating our portfolio of available property, available spec-built buildings, and making sure that all of that's on the menu for when people are calling into the office saying, hey, I'm looking for a place to locate my business, and we can immediately access that and give them a menu of different options for them to kind of vet and entertain. Number 5 is promote environmental and site improvement, address and mitigate environmental challenges, prepare sites for redevelopment, and remove barriers to private investment. This can be anywhere from stormwater and drains to wetland mitigation to infrastructure improvements. And a good example of this is some of the work that we're already doing at that south end of the airport down by Pennsylvania and Warman area is we've worked with the Airport Authority, Oakwood Hillman Group, who is in contract with the Airport Authority to develop that property, and the Detroit Regional Partnership, and we've been able to secure about $100,000 in site prep and due diligence work in that area. So that they're going to come in, identify where the wetlands are, identify where mitigation has to occur. It does everything from identifying what type of utilities are in the area, kind of everything. We've done vibration studies down there for some of the onshoring of chip manufacturing. So we look at all of those sites and how can we better prep that area for when investment comes knocking at the door. Number 6, transparent, accountable governance, adherence to state legislation requirements for financial transparency and reporting. I think I touched on this at the beginning of the presentation. Everything we do in Tifa is governed by legislation, and that legislation outlines the reporting that we have to go through. As part of the city budget, our budget through the Tifa board is also audited through pretty much the presentation that you just heard prior to this one. That audit, so it goes through that audit process just like any other line item budget in the city budget. And lastly, improve the quality of life. Number 7, collaboration and partnership. Collaborate proactively with public agencies, private stakeholders, regional development authorities to maximize investment impact. Examples of this really are Tifa does a lot of work with the Aerotropolis board and working on, larger scale projects, one of which will be in front of council tonight with the LDFA and the E-Course Road Corridor Study. Housing studies, master plan, all of that ties into all of the work that we've been doing with Tifa. The bridge grade separation at Pennsylvania and Mormon area, 275 area. Collaboration between Aerotropolis, Romulus, and Huron Township. Secured about $875,000 grant from Debbie Dingle's office to do the geotech engineering and working towards getting to that 30% completion of design for a bridge and a grade separation down there. And that was just awarded through Wayne County. And we're going to be starting the work on that in the springtime for that grade separation design and estimating. And then lastly, improve the quality of life and diversity of the transportation system and ensure convenient, enjoyable access and important destination and help attract new businesses to the city. I did talk a little bit about the bike paths and the walkways and connectivity throughout the entire city, and we'll continue to work on that. Another big one is just the smart bus, the reopening of Route 280 and the smart bus route in the area. It was closed years ago. We worked and that's part of that transportation corridor and making sure that, working families can get to and from jobs that are within the city of Romulus, and that was a big help in doing that. We're also working in that district, in that kind of Vining Road corridor, Wick, Smith, and Merriman corridor to install streetlights in that area now as well for that area because the transportation is starting to pick up. So continuing to work on that. Some accomplished projects, aside from the ones that I've already kind of touched on, enhancements projects that they've done in the past, Wick Road and Merriman Road, landscaping, ornamental lighting, the lamp posts, the LED lighting that's in that area, water mains, the Hildebrandt, section 13 of the water main, Harrison Road, Smith Road, I mentioned as well, between Merriman and Middlebelt, road resurfacing, North Line Road between Inkster and Middlebelt, Warman Road, Pennsylvania and Eureka, Vining Road, I-94 service drive to Wick Road, those have all been completed. Road reconstruction projects they've done in the past, there's a long list of those there as well. And then new road construction that we've seen, recently with Smith Road, Flynn Drive, Hildebrandt, Vining Road, and Vining Interchange. These are all projects that over the last 5 to 10 years have been accomplished through TIFA during this plan. TIFA's accomplishments over at the RAC, the Romulus Athletic Center, is owned by TIFA. Romulus Athletic Center opened in 2008. It's an 18-year-old facility. A lot of the items and mechanicals that are in the Romulus Athletic Center are end of life, and the Romulus TIFA board is been committed to making sure that we do a refresh on that facility, and we've done so extensively over the last couple of years and continuing to do so. We've just finished some major HVAC renovations above the aquatics area in that area. It was kind of a long project, took about eight months to get through, but we finally got it across the finish line, and they're finishing up the controls and the final kind of install of the controls for that system, and will be finished up here within the next couple of weeks as well. So we continue to invest money in that facility and make sure that it's staying top notch for the community. Other accomplishments recently, the Vining Road traffic study and creation of a regional traffic model for Vining Road when they extended that road from Wick all the way up to E-Course Road. Contracted with Retail Strategies to market and promote available properties and opportunities for growth and redevelopment in the Tifa district. Assisted with the acquisition of the property right-of-way and the property located at the southeast side of Wayne and Ecorse for the intersection reconfiguration when they just reconfigured Ecorse and Wayne Road there. Tifa assisted with some of that. Approved the reimbursement for the agreement for North Point development. Finished the Ecorse Road corridor study, and assisted with the acquisition of the 18 acres of property on the east side of Vining for the future home of the public safety headquarters. Other facilities within the city that TIF has assisted in making sure that we keep up to par is the animal shelter. We just recently finished the epoxy floors, a paint refresh, some security enhancements, some HVAC enhancements, and some ventilation in a few of the animal rooms. Made sure that building had a generator, and installed a new washer and dryer over there as well for the animals when they're bathing them and washing them. We finished up some DPW facility improvements also, which included an ancillary storage building for some of the equipment to make sure that it was housed and stored appropriately. And then just the capital improvements that I mentioned at the athletic center. Future planned projects currently right now, Wick Road, Inkster to Middlebelt has been in the plan for a while. Water main on Smith Road I talked about, that was completed in '25. Road reconstruction on North Line is completed. Discussion with the county for Eureka Road between Inkster and Middlebelt, that's a county project, so we have to make sure we coordinate with that. And then Merriman Road, partnership with Wayne County, which was also completed a resurfacing in '25 from Ecorse into the airport. And proposed in the near future, we're looking at Goddard Road, Inkster to Middlebelt, whether or not a resurface on that can be done or if it needs to be a full reconstruct and expansion. Flynn Road, Merriman to Hudson on that section of Flynn. Road reconstruction projects for Smith Road, Middlebelt east of the dead end. Middlebelt to Merriman on Smith Road as well. Wickham Road, Harrison Road, Merriman Road, Inkster, Goddard, and that section of Eureka down by the airport between Merriman and 275, and then Harrison Road, Goddard to Wick. One thing that I want to point out is this plan is a 30-year plan, right? So you have some projects in here. Not all of these are going to get started in a year or finished in 3 years. These are projects that are spread out over 30 years that you look at the infrastructure as the infrastructure ages, you make determinations, and we use a number of different methods of doing that. And we rely heavily on our DPW director to assist us and engineers as well. But you look at, as the infrastructure ages and is used, which ones are priorities, and those are always changing. So, we'll continue to look at those as well, and, keep working on them. Lastly, these are some of the projects that we've discussed recently, but upgrades to some Opportunity Park, or the Opportunity Park behind the rack. The 94 bridge overpass design, so Vining Road over 94. There's going to be some branding in that overpass over there, and kind of letting people know that you're here in the city of Romulus and not just going to the airport. Public safety headquarters at Wick and Vining. Fire Station 1 rebuild and or modify or improve. Some work over at the historical birdhouse. We have a couple grants in that they've applied for over there, and TIF is willing to put the money in for the match of those grants. LED street lighting for Vining, Merriman Road, Smith, Wickham, and Wick. That's that area over there I said the street lighting was going into. Finish up some remaining capital improvement projects at the rack. Funding for the Pennsylvania Road overpass, which I spoke about a little bit earlier, and then continued support for the traffic management system for our drone program that we've initiated as well. Lastly, one of the things that I want to highlight, because I think this has been the overarching theme as far as the phone calls I've fielded that have gone out. So part of this public hearing is every parcel within the district that we're collecting taxes is required to receive a notification that we're having a public hearing. And that, usually prompts the attendance that we have here this evening, several phone calls, several emails, And then also, we have to notify the other taxing agencies that, that are part of the TIFA tax capture. So we did that in accordance with that, but the number one question that I get is, what does it do to my taxes? I think that's what everyone wants to know, and this change is a kind of a realignment of the verbiage and making sure, like I said before, that all the dates are in line with each other, all the tables are in line with each other and projected out to the appropriate length of time, and then also the 3 district changes. But as it pertains to the actual taxes, nothing changes. Nobody's taxes go up, nobody's taxes go down, they stay the same. This is a district map change, has nothing to do with taxing or taxable value of individual properties. So there will be no impact to taxes. And that, I think, has been the number one question that I've received in every phone call that I've received thus far. And I think I fielded probably over about 30 total since the letters and notification of the public have gone out. So with that, I'll open up to questions to council.
Gina?
Yes, Mr. Wadsworth?
If I can, to the chair. Kevin, I got a couple of questions. Number one, there's nothing in this for the downtown.
No, TIF is completely different than the downtown.
Well,
Yep.
okay, I mean, okay. Number two, on that property from, off Eureka down to Pennsylvania, you talk about the airport, and I trust the airport, what they say for as far as you can toss them. I mean, they came here in '95, and they bulldozed our residents from their homes, both north and south. And actually, Mike Duggan is the one that ran all this back then. And they didn't do much for them. And now, as far as this property south, when they told us then this is what they wanted, they were done. Well, then came 2008, and they wanted to put a new runway, they wanted to buy Oak Brook, they wanted to kick out blocks.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about them. How do we get this property back? Do we tell them we want that, or that they're gonna give us the property that they wanna give?
So they're not giving us any property, nor does the
I'm
city.
talking about what they took from us.
So I don't believe, and I wasn't there, that predated me, so I don't,
On Eureka
I don't
Road,
believe
There
that,
were, on Eureka Road, there were single-family homes that they took, that they forced them out. And, they took the property, and
Yeah.
so it's been 30 years that that's been off our tax rolls. So you talked about, we can redevelop it, we can get it back.
so
How does
I.
that happen?
Yeah, so what I was going to say was, I don't believe that we are going to get the property back, meaning the city, right?
They're gonna put it up for sale.
Correct.
Huh.
It will go up for sale, and according to, the processes that's all through the airport, has nothing to do with the city of Romulus at all.
Okay, all
But they do an appraisal on the property, and then it gets sold for fair market value.
Okay, fine,
Yep.
thank you.
Any other questions? Ms. Abdullah?
Kevin, you said that the state no longer allows cities to have a TIFA district, right?
They're not, no new TIFA districts are allowed to be created.
And you said something, I was surprised because I researched this. It said that we can't disband the TIFA district either?
So, there's a process to disband it, but it's a lengthy process, and
But
it is
it
something
is
that can
allowed.
be done,
Okay.
yes.
And my next question has to do with Fire Station 1. Is that going to be a priority?
So I believe that, through the mayor and his direction to administration has been that public safety has been one of the top 3 priorities since
Yeah,
the
I
start of his administration. And we've been, continuing to work on that. But I would say that Fire Station 1, now that we have stabilized the fire department and we've increased staffing, it's ready to be, ready to be opened. And we have to get through a process of making sure that it meets the demands of a modern-day fire department. Right? We don't want to just put our firefighters in a box and a shell, and it's not, conducive of a healthy working environment. And that's what we're going through the evaluation right now. So TIFA approved an agreement with Partners in Architecture to look at 2 options. Number 1, rebuilding what's there and kind of like modifying what's there, or scraping the site and building new. And we're going through those iterations right now.
Okay, because, with the trains, it shuts us off from this
Yep.
side of town, off from any emergency services. So I would like to see that as
Yeah, absolutely. Ideally, opening Fire Station 1 gives us that triangle around the airport that,
Yep.
that is the airport, and allows us to disperse our resources, in better strategic locations, which, has a plethora of benefits to not only the citizens for response times, but, ISO ratings for insurance and everything else. So it's all connected.
Thank you.
Through the chair, just a quick comment to reiterate the importance of public safety in that side of town and the inability that's there. We could have that issue. Two major projects that this will help take care of through TIFA would be the Station 1 reopening, but also the grade separation on Pennsylvania Road to go right over the highway, so they're no longer stopped by
Yeah,
trains.
I wish.
So if it wasn't for TIFA, we wouldn't be able to do either one of these. It wouldn't be general fund dollars. So those are two long-term goals. Well, Station 1, a shorter-term goal, that's more achievable. The overpass, that's a joint operation with us in Huron. And stay tuned on that one as that makes progress.
Is there any progress on that? I mean, I know we've been talking about it for years, the overpass, and that would solve the problem.
Yeah, so like I mentioned earlier in the presentation, the collaboration we've done with not only Aerotropolis and Huron Township, but with our state legislators. Senator
Yeah,
Camilleri, he's introduced legislation and got it passed that created the funding. He secured, was it $12 million, Mayor? $12 million that's set aside at the state level. The number one state priority for railroad crossings was the one on Allen Road in Downriver.
Yeah,
That one's it's very, very problematic for years, but we've been working diligently to make sure that ours is next up. So as we continue to go through that money that we received from Debbie Dingle, and we've been able to work on the engineering. Once we get to that 30% engineering is really where the state and federal dollars start kicking in, because they want to make sure that it's a feasible project. So you've done the work up till 30%. Now we'll give you the rest of the money to get it across the finish line. So that's what we're working towards.
Thank you.
Any other questions, council?
I've got one more
Mr.
question.
Wadsworth?
This spot between 275 and the airport in 94, why do we leave such a small section out? There's a couple of streets in there that,
Well, it goes down North Line. So it goes straight down North Line, and then it basically just connects those parcels up to Fire Station 1.
and why did we not take all the parcels?
We did, from where the last one was there, all the way up. It's just on the north side.
Why didn't we take them on the south?
There really wasn't a need for it.
Okay.
Yeah. We took the shortest possible route to get to Fire Station 1 in order to be able to spend the TIFA dollars at that location.
But then, if a developer would come along on this side of the road, maybe he wants the other side, and that would make a difference that he wouldn't buy it. But that's my,
I don't understand what the argument would be for them not to buy it.
okay, all right, fine, thank you.
Through the chair, just one last comment, thank you, and I'll make it quick. I want to thank Kevin and his team for all the hard work on this restatement plan. It was no easy task. I think that TIFA was underutilized in this community for a long time, and it's a benefit to the community. If we maximize the benefit to our residents, we'd be strategic and legal and transparent in how we do it. And this allows us to do a lot more. We got to have a vision for where we want to go, right? And we know the vision right now with the Vining Road and the attention we're doing, the creation of jobs, the tax base over at the Trade Center and Vining Road, the 5-year vision, maybe sooner, we hope, will be the LDFA and the E-Course Road as we're laying the foundation for that work and how we grow that area. This is kind of the third part of that, where if we can create this TIFA, we can redevelop Pennsylvania Road and work with the airport, because it's their properties, to help roll back those properties, put them on the market, put them for sale, make Pennsylvania Road developable properties all along there. This will be a benefit to us because it puts them back on the tax rolls. So, we're talking about 3, 5, 10-year, 15-year goals. And this helps establish it and puts those things in place. It's, like Kevin said, it's not going to be an increase in tax on anybody, but it's a way to be strategic and maximize the benefit of the TIFA district being a tool to grow this community. So great work by your team, Kevin. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Mr. Jones?
question, this Pennsylvania area is just going to be, it's not strictly business, it's also residential.
So currently along Pennsylvania Road, it's zoned to multiple different ways. Some of it's residential, some of it's M1. I don't believe there's any commercial down there, but yeah, it's mostly residential and M1.
Because I was listening to most of the stuff, streets you mentioned was more or less in commercial as to possible residential.
I'm sorry, what, I don't
Most
understand
of
what you're
the, most of
asking.
the streets you mentioned,
Yep.
is more or less was in commercial areas as to residential.
On Pennsylvania, you mean?
Oh, not just Pennsylvania, like.
So, yeah, so the other areas are more in commercial areas,
Right.
yeah, it's around the hotel district, it's, some of
Okay.
the projects are maintaining the infrastructure that TIF has paid for in the past in those districts.
Okay.
Down here, we're focused more on new growth and new economic development in this area down here.
Okay. And there will be no more different areas, it's just only what you have.
Correct, right now, this is what we're asking for the district.
Okay.
Yeah, and the goal is when we get an area that's built out, like, so, I'm gonna use Warman Road as an example. Warman Road, we redid that road, we brought the water into it, we brought the sewer into it, we helped with getting the electrical infrastructure in there. And then we saw Kroger come, we saw Janasco come, we saw Logos Logistics come. So, you know, you created the infrastructure there for businesses to locate or relocate to, right? So the goal is when that area builds out, then you remove them from the district and you focus on a different area. So that's the goal. If you look at, I guess I can go back on the map. If you go back to the map and look, there's areas on the west side, I don't know if this has a pointer or not, I don't think, maybe it does. There's areas on the west side of the map that are in the boundaries, but they're not part of the district.
Okay,
You see what I'm saying?
okay.
Yep.
Anybody else? No? I want to say thank you for your work too, Kevin. I read that package was thick, but it was all the work that was in it, the things just, letting our city move forward. I've always said, Romulus is on the precipice of greatness. It's just a lot of things in place. I know it takes a little time to get to these ends, but the work that you guys put into for that process. I've said when I first got on council back in 2017, this train is moving. The train has been moving. Y'all been making great strides, esteemed mayor and your administration. And I'm thankful for the work that you guys put in to keep that train moving. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Madam Clerk.
If there's no further discussion, we're at number 4, public comment. And this is the section of our agenda for members of the audience who wish to address the city council regarding tonight's public hearing. To address the city council, please raise your hand, and after you've been acknowledged by the chairperson, we ask that you approach the podium and you may state your name. You will have 3 minutes to speak, and any additional time will be granted at the consent of the chairperson. So, Madam Chair, it's now in your hands.
Do we have any? Yes, ma'am, right here. Can you please state your name?
Hello, good evening. My name is Michelle Grizzle. My property is located on Viney Road between Eureka and Pennsylvania. I understand what the plan entails and all the details that this man has put into it and all the hard work, and I do acknowledge that, and I do appreciate everything he's trying to do for our city. Thank you. My questions are, first of all, the infrastructure of our area, which has been neglected throughout the entire time that we've owned our property, and we've owned the property for 55 plus years, my family has. At this time, we have had to go to the Supreme Court levels to keep our property. We have gotten our road closed off at both sections of Eureka and Pennsylvania with berms with no access whatsoever and still taxed. There's no infrastructure there. What is the plan for our area and our friends and colleagues from the California area, California Street area? Our area has been neglected as far as I'm concerned. And I'd like to know what your plan is for our area instead of just going to the north parts of the airport and the hotels and focusing all your hard work on that area.
Gotcha. No, thank you, Michelle. We're going to address that, so I'm going to go to the next person. Just give us a minute. Thank you. Next, I seen a hand over here. First, I'll come back to you. So can you state your name for me?
Hi, my name is Tiffany Hemingway. I reside on Hyde Park Street.
Okay.
So I had a two-part question. One is, who does pay long-term for these TIFA changes? Because we all know this has to be maintained in the future. And then secondly, like, we don't get any kind of vote as to what do we want. We need grocery stores, we need a pharmacy, things of that nature. So I'm just wondering, in the future, is there plans for those types of things?
Okay,
That's
thank
all I
you.
have.
Next.
Good evening, council members.
How you doing?
My name is Greg Grizzle. I'm Michelle's younger brother. I just have one question. When, I believe it was Councilmember Abdo, we were talking about the property and when Romulus gets the property back to whether Romulus sells it or Wayne County sells it. And I believe Kevin is his name. He said Wayne County was going to take care of it. Now, my question is, was it Wayne County or the Airport Authority? Because we're having issues with the Airport Authority.
Okay, that's your question. Okay, thank you. In the back?
My name is Marcia Bergeron. I've approached the mayor before, and Kevin, we've talked, and you haven't heard my dilemma, so I'm here for your help also and suggestion. I'm representing my mother and dad's property on Warman Road between Grant and North Line, 23 acres. The whole side of Warman Road is absolutely nothing but vacant property for sale. We've had a couple of people interested in the property, but they were told they had to put in a road, sewer, and everything else. The road is half paved, I shouldn't say paved, it's half blacktop and dirt. Everyone down that road pays taxes. My mother and dad have been there for 85 years, probably longer. And nothing seems to happen down there. It's light industrial. There was a park there at one time. You want to build a park behind the rec center? There's your property right there. I need help, I need direction. Half paved, no trucking. There's a trucking company down the road. Where do we begin?
Okay.
Taxes have been being paid Wayne County. If they get anything, there's no taxes coming from Eureka, Pennsylvania, all of that. So I need help, direction. What do I do with Warman Road? It's not in the Tifa district, but Tifa is all around it. And every place on Romulus on Warman Road is paved, except for that Warman Road. And that Warman Road, if no one knows, it's between Wayne Road and near River Drive. And the railroad track 275 is right in the back.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Bergeron.
And I want to say thank you to the DPW for their hard work today.
Thank you. Pete?
Yes, my name is Pete Bergeron, and on 1984, I was the one that made that motion to create the Tifa district, okay? At this point in time, all I see is everything going into a Tifa district. It was supposed to bring in development. That was 40 years ago. Now, all of a sudden, we're taking the same tax dollars, okay, and using it for this. And if we're doing economic development, fine. But we had the same problem with Wayne County when they owned the farm on Van Born Road. I sat in that chair and I said, I made a motion to put that on the tax rolls. And guess what? Wayne County sold it just like that. And then they started paying taxes on that property. That's the same thing with the airport. It's the same thing as the airport. So anyway, I'm perturbed that we aren't, as a Tifa board and as a city, we're not looking after the citizens, we're looking at the economic development that's bringing it in. With our property, or my wife's family property, they've been paying taxes on it for 100 years. They've paid over $1 million in taxes. And we can't do that because a guy across the street doesn't like the way the wind blows. We have to start building things, and people from Romulus better start using Romulus businesses. You guys get attacked all the time for not bringing in commercial, not bringing in this and that in stores. Well, the bottom line is that when they're here, you got to patronize them. How many people? Everybody tells me all the time, how many people? Why don't we have a grocery store? How many people went to the grocery store when we had it? None. That's why they went out. People are drawn here if they're successful business people. So anyway, and the other thing, my bottom line is, are we putting too much money in the rec center and destroying our assets within the Tiffin district? I know a lot of you like that, but you know what? It is a financial ruin, and as I told Tim Keys years ago, we got about 7,800 families in Romulus. 2,800 of them are poor, okay? 5,000 would have to join at $400 a month to pay the bills. You know, and in my opinion, more people from outside of Romulus are enjoying the rec center than us. So if you want to do something with the rec center, put the fire department in the rec center, okay, and put the police department over there, and you'll save money. And then once you save that money and get rid of the Tiffin district, guess what? We don't have to pay as much taxes. We're subsidizing all that. So anyway, thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you, Pete.
Madam Chairman,
Mr. Wadsworth?
if I can, and Pete brings up of the date of 1984, and I was sitting here then. That road is a unique situation, and we should look into putting it in the Tiffin district. I see no reason that we shouldn't put it in, and that's my opinion. I'm only one person here.
Thank you, Mr. Wadsworth. Any more comments from the public? Okay.
Again, my name is Michelle Grizzle, and I apologize for asking this one last question. So you were talking about all of the infrastructure changes and upgrades to all of this Tiffin area. You say there's no taxes going to be allocated at higher taxes for us? I don't believe that. Every year so far, with my property that I cannot access on Viney Road between Eureka and Pennsylvania, I've had hundreds and hundreds of dollars increases for nothing, for not even being able to access my property. So I don't believe this. I have a very hard time with this happening. I really do. I'm sorry, but I don't believe in these facts of no increase in taxes. I just don't see it.
Thanks, Ms.
Sorry.
Grizzle.
If you could show me that, I would love to look at that, to see where all the funds are coming from. You say $12 million were allocated. Well, $12 million, I can spend that in 3 days. So where are we really at with tax increases? So I'd like to see the total numbers before I would agree to anything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Pete, go ahead.
With all due respect, if I could possibly get a budget and find out how much money we're putting in the rec center and how much revenue we're bringing in, I'd really like to see that. Because sometimes sense and economic sense don't make sense. Okay? And if you're bleeding, you know, you cover the wound. And I know you guys are all for the rec center, you know, and all that, but you know what? It's a waste of money. It's a big waste of money.
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
Wow, this is what it takes to get people out here to talk about this, boy, I tell you. Y'all need to come more, get engaged. Come on now, get engaged. Kevin, we don't let this, you turn it up. I saw you taking notes, so I know you got some answers for us.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and kind of just try to go in order. I wrote these down in order as it pertains to infrastructure. And so the first one under Michelle, I'm sorry, last name was it Grizzle?
Grizzle.
I don't want to get it wrong. So, you know, that area, the entire area south of the airport, because of the airport's acquisition of it, has been an unknown. And there are individual parcels that are down there, right? And those individual parcels that are down there are very hard to plan for when we don't have any continuity in the infrastructure around it because it's all owned by the airport. So by making these moves and trying to force the airport to get this property back into private hands and private owners and out of the airport / county, because it's all one agency, the airport manages it, but ultimately it's county, right? It's a county airport. By getting that out of their hands and back into private investors' hands, we can then put a plan together for overall infrastructure down there. And that really is the plan, is to make that a better area and not just let it be vacant wetlands and you know, floodplain. We want to be able to get infrastructure down there, but when there's only 1 or 2 private parcel ownership in there that's surrounded by everything else, it makes it very difficult to do that. So These are the first steps in starting to work with them and remove that out of their footprint and get it back into our footprint so we can assist the residents that live in that area. The next, Ms. Hemingway, I believe it was, Tiffany? Hemingway, you had asked in regards to the grocery stores and the pharmacies and some other things that we'd like to see in the area. TIF is limited on what we can spend the dollars on. I can't go open a pharmacy, I can't go open a grocery store. We'd love to see those things also. I can't tell you how many groceries, I could spend a whole night here telling you about grocery stores and how many conversations about grocery stores. But what I can say is the work that we're attempting to do and trying to do is the whole point of that is for business attraction, right? And to attract those businesses and attract somebody that is going to be able to open up a grocery store and make it make sense. One of the reasons why we struggle with this on a daily basis as far as attracting businesses is because, as the mayor stated, that TIF dollars have been underutilized for years in the city, and I believe that is the case. And that was all predecessors to this administration that did that. But we want to find a way forward, and that's what we're trying to do. And by doing this, it hopefully will make that environment for those stores and that businesses come to Romulus. And Mr. Bergeron's point is we have to patronize these establishments.
Yeah,
100%.
here is terrible towards the airport. Nobody wants to travel.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We need restaurants.
Yep. And we are working on it. It is in the overall plan. I think I also answered the question in regards to Mr. Grizzle's question about Wayne County. It is the airport authority, but ultimately falls under county jurisdiction. So the airport authority has certain rules and guidelines and everything that they follow that's federally mandated because they are an airport, but they also report to the county as well. Okay? Ms. Bergeron, I have spoke with you. I think that Katrina is working on getting an appointment for you and I to sit down and have those conversations. Mr. Bergeron or Pete, I've heard your concerns as well. I will work on getting that budget for you for the RAC, and we can sit down and discuss that as well. We will look into that road, and I think there are some unique circumstances there. And we got to make sure that it falls in line with what the TIFA plan is and whether or not it can be included in that. Yep.
Okay. Was that everybody? I think it was
chair.
a lively crowd.
Through the chair, just
Yes,
one more.
Mayor.
Greg, I want to make sure we have your phone number because it's an interesting question that if you guys don't have access to your property. I believe Vining Road is partially open.
Oh, okay.
Well, and I want to talk to you offline after this because I don't know where their authority ends with that. Because we do have small parcels on the other side of town that the airport owns, and we can't close those roads because they're individually owned parcels over there. So I'm interested in talking to you a little bit more after the meeting, just to get additional details. I'm not sure what authority we have because it is the airport authority in Wayne County, but I definitely have some questions in my own head. It is in Romulus, but we all know that the airport grows and, they do what they do.
Yeah. We're gonna let y'all handle
Yeah, I
that
wanna
off.
make sure we get your phone
Offline. Yep.
Tina,
So we can keep the movement. Mr.
if
Wadsworth?
I can through the chair, weren't you and Ed the cabinet man the ones that won the suit in federal court to keep your property?
Yeah, we went all the way to state
Yeah,
Supreme Court. and won
okay.
the rest of them.
Thank you.
Fine.
Mr. Jones? Oh, we still in public. Who? You said? Did you have another question?
He didn't answer the first part, the first question.
Okay,
Who pays for this long term, the renewal of this?
that's right.
Yes, I'm sorry. So any of the infrastructure that the TIFA invests in continues to pay for it with the TIFA plan. Yep.
Where does the TIF money come from?
So the TIFA money is the money that's captured from the increment on the properties that are in the plan itself. So when the plan was established in 1983, they create a base. That base always goes to the city, and it always goes through the regular taxing authority. So of that base, it goes through the city process. The city gets about a third of it, the other 2/3 go to county, goes to, the state, goes to, the garbage, it goes to the jails, all that stuff, right? So it goes through that property. The benefit of having a Tifa district, and maybe this was understated in my presentation, is that any increment above that, so the rate of inflation or 3%, whatever's lower, is that correct? 5%, whatever's lower, where the property value goes up, that rate of inflation, that increment is what gets captured and then stays here. The benefit of doing that is that money 100% stays in the city. We don't have to give 2/3 of it away to the other taxing agencies. So that's the benefit of having the plan. So we're not sharing that money, we're keeping it here. And that's the money that gets captured and where it comes from and then how it gets spent in the area.
Okay, I'm sorry, we got to keep a little sense of order. So if you want to have, you're going to be around, right?
Yep.
So if y'all want to get with him afterwards, y'all do that, because we got to keep the flow of the meeting going. Because we overtime. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and wrap this. If you have any questions, Kevin will be around, the mayor be around, but we got to go into our regular meeting because we late. So what we got next on the agenda?
Adjournment from this meeting, but again, I want to reiterate, please leave your information.
Yeah.
Make sure you sign in, and then that way Director Kraus can get in touch with you or the mayor, if you have further questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, the agenda calls for an adjournment, and it's 7:46.
Support.
It's been motioned by Mr. Wadsworth, seconded by Ms. Roscoe to adjourn this special meeting. Mr. Wadsworth.
Yes.
Ms. Roscoe.
Yes.
Ms. Abdo.
Yes.
Mr. Bullock.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Wilhite.
Yes.
Chair votes yes, we are adjourned. So we'll get ready, 1 minute for our regular meeting? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody, for coming out.